expectations.
Interesting people is a lot of pressure. All right, friends, before we introduce ourselves, we think it's very important to introduce you to our bus.
Our bus that we lived on for a year.
With our 4 children.
Yes, and 2 dogs.
And, friends, no bathroom.
No bathroom, no room for bathroom.
You might have seen our bus on the grounds outside the theater.
Yeah, hooray!
Okay, good.
You all were paying attention. You might have noticed that it is rather small.
You might even have said to yourself, I am so glad I don't have to live in that tiny bus for a year with 4 children, 2 dogs, and no bathroom.
Friends, you are wise. But living on that tiny school bus was our response to a big problem we saw in our local community.
So my name is Matthew Swanson. I'm a children's book author.
My name is Robbi Behr. I'm a children's book illustrator. Over the past 20 years, we've made a bunch of books together.
And as people who make books for kids, we often get invited to elementary schools to talk about books and creativity.
These visits are always fun and inspiring. Kids' eyes light up with excitement to read and create. It really is one of the best things ever.
It really is. But here's the thing. Author visits are expensive, and most schools can't afford them.
No. For example, Garnett Elementary in Chestertown, Maryland, the public school I attended as a kid and where all of our kids have gone, has far more urgent priorities.
88% of the students at Garnett live below or near the poverty line.
This means many are coming to school hungry, exhausted, or challenged by trauma.
Garnett's limited budget has to cover breakfast, lunch, mental health services, and interventions for kids with a wide range of special needs.
And teachers are struggling. They are heroes who work their tails off every day for their students, and they aren't getting enough support or resources or respect.
So we never get invited to schools like Garnett, but they're absolutely where we're most needed.
Did you know that in America's low-income communities, the ratio of children to books is 300 to 1.
Okay, so if everybody in this auditorium was a kid from a low-income community, you would have a whopping 2.5 books to share amongst yourselves.
Not only that, there are almost 47,000 schools in this country where 40% or more of the students are living below or near the poverty line.
So we found these statistics shocking and unacceptable, and not just because we're people who love books. Friends, lower reading ability correlates to lower employment rates, lower salary, lower life satisfaction.
So books aren't just a luxury, they're a lifeline.
Yeah, so we decided we'd spend our day doing a free author visit at Garnett, and we reached out to our followers and raised money to buy a book for every student and teacher.
The day was a huge success. Kids who had never owned a book before were running up to us in the hallways, telling us how many chapters that they'd already finished.
In the days following our visit, kids started writing their own books and working with their friends to make comics.
It genuinely was one of the most gratifying experiences of our creative lives. We were like, how do we keep doing this? We want to do this over and over again. And so we started to dream.
And slowly, over a few years, that dream turned into a plan.
Our friend Brian helped us convert a decommissioned school bus into a tiny home.
Complete with a tiny kitchen, a tiny table, and a rooftop pop-up compartment where all 4 children slept on a single mattress.
Yes. Our daughter is here in the audience. Please give her a pat on the back for us.
Or some sort of a, yeah.
Hey! She could have made that trip so miserable.
Yes,
but anyway,
yes, yeah.
We also partnered with the literacy nonprofit First Book, who handled the logistical shenanigans of getting 25,000 books to 53 schools.
And with the Build-A-Bear Foundation, which funded an additional 125,000 free books for public school teachers across the country.
Yes, yay.
Thank you.
On August 30th, 2022, our family set off on our version of the Great American Road Trip.
We called it the Busload of Books tour.
Yes. Friends, we saw the sights.
Oh, yes. We did the hikes.
We did. We ate the foods.
We ate all of the foods.
All of the foods.
The foods of America are
They're
delicious
all gone.
and now gone.
They're all gone. We apologize. So we spent a year traveling the country, visiting one underserved school in each state, doing free assemblies and all-school book giveaways.
And one of our objectives was letting the kids see that authors and illustrators are just regular people, and that anyone can make a story if they want to.
To make that point, we would finish each presentation with a group brainstorm.
So I'd walk around the room with a microphone, working with the kids to develop the plot of a simple story, coming up with a hero and the problem they're trying to solve, and how they work their way to a solution.
Meanwhile, I would be scribbling away on my iPad, trying to capture this thing that they were all coming up with. The results were always surprising and funny, sometimes super weird.
It's really hard to describe this exercise.
Yes,
It's kind of
it's a have to be there kind of thing.
But they weren't there.
No, sorry, friends.
But they are here now.
You are here now. Are you suggesting, Matthew, that we do this exercise with these fine people here?
I mean, that would be really fun, but I'm skeptical that they're up to the challenge.
These people are masters. These are masters.
They would have to be able to harness the creative capacity of a room full of third graders. Can you do it, friends?
I think they can do
yes?
it. They can do it. We're going to do it.
You're going to have to give me some ideas. Do you promise you won't leave me hanging?
All right.
Do you promise you won't leave me hanging? All right, so if we're going to create a story, the first thing we have to do is come up with the hero. Every story has someone who we follow, the hero of the story. So who is our hero going to be? You are our hero? No? Who's going to... Jeff Berman is a hero.
You want me to draw Jeff Berman?
But do we have any other suggestions? Yes, who's the hero of our story?
Her name is Jenny, and she makes ice cream.
Okay, Jenny the ice cream maker. Give me something about Jenny. What distinguishes Jenny from all the other ice cream makers? Does she have a... What's that? She's a hippopotamus named Jenny who makes ice cream, all right? Is that her hobby or is that her actual job?
It's her calling.
It's her calling in life. Okay. So anything else we didn't know about Jenny? Does she have a hat? Does she have... What's that? She lives in the Sahara. Okay. So some cactuses or wildebeests surrounding her? Okay. All right. Robbi, so we have Jenny, excuse me, she is a childless cat hippopotamus ice cream. I think we're getting a little complicated here. All right. So the next step of making our story, friends, is trying to figure out what Jenny wants. If the hero has an objective, we care about their adventures. So I see over there, what does Jenny want to accomplish, overcome, defeat, be, what?
She wants to create the best ice cream parlor on the planet.
The best ice cream parlor, not just in the Sahara, friends, but on the entire planet. Okay, what makes the ice cream parlor the best? Give me a sense of what will make Jenny's dreams come true. What does she want?
Sustainable toppings.
Sustainable toppings. Do we have some ideas about what a sustainable topping might be? Yes, my friend. Okay, joyful, sustainable toppings. I love it. Both of those things together. Okay, so friends, we have our hero, we have the objective we're trying to solve. The story becomes interesting when we introduce conflict. Who is Jenny's enemy? What is the problem she's trying to solve? What is she trying to overcome? What? The sun, the evil sun is trying to melt Jenny's ice cream? Is this just a scientific phenomenon or does the sun have an agenda? Yeah, tell me. What is the sun up to? The sun is lactose intolerant and therefore sees Jenny's dreams as a threat. Okay, so Jenny wants to make her ice cream. We have such a great plan, sustainable, joyful toppings. The lactose intolerant sun is not on board. Friends, we want this to be a happy story. We want there to be a happy ending for the children, which means, what's that? Vegan ice cream. So what does Jenny do to overcome the sun? Because the vegan ice cream will...
Blots out the sun with sprinkles.
She blots out the sun with sprinkles? Okay, so she covers the sun with sprinkles. Does the sprinkles melt, Rob? This is scientifically improbable. But that's okay. That's okay. In a children's book, anything can happen. So Robbi, Jenny somehow invokes a great tempest of sprinkles that fill the atmosphere, blot out the sun, and she makes that ice cream anyway. Friends, does anybody want to shout out a title for this story of ours? A short, pithy title that somehow encapsulates all that we've covered here. Jenny's dreams, Jenny's challenges, Jenny's surprising success. Yes? Jenny's Sunday. All right, Jenny's Sunday. What do you think, Robbi?
Sounds
all right,
good.
Friends,
Sounds good.
You lived up to the challenge. I'm so proud of you. Give yourselves a round of applause. Oh, good job. Good job. You did it.
Everyone.
You did it. How are you feeling? How are you feeling, friend?
I just calmed down a little bit.
You're
I was
good?
very excited.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Whenever we do this exercise with the kids, we've always just thought of it as a fun, interactive activity. But as we traveled the country and did it again and again, we came to realize this simple act of creativity had its own empowering value for the kids.
Yes, seeing different and especially bigger possibilities is actually a huge privilege that many kids don't get to experience.
Yeah, why bother to dream when the outcome seems unreachable?
We thought that we were on a mission to bring books to literacy deserts. But it turns out that the most important thing we left behind in the communities we visited was a feeling.
Again and again in the follow-up emails and texts from our hosts, the message was pretty much the same. Thank you for loving our kids.
Yeah. Thank you for helping them feel valued and seen.
Feeling valued is another privilege many of us take for granted. But friends, it's so important.
If you feel valued, you feel like maybe you have a story that's worth sharing.
You start to see the bigger possibilities you might not have noticed. You start to turn your dreams into plans.
So when we were in rural Arkansas, this little boy, JP, he came up to me after the presentation, and he put his little hand on my arm, and he goes, "Ma'am, may I tell you something?" And I was like, "Of course, JP, tell me. What do you need to say?" And he said, "Before you came here, I didn't think that being an illustrator was something that a regular person could do." It's always because every time I see JP, I get a little choked up. He said, "But now I've met you, and I think that it's maybe something that I can do. It's something that I want to do. So if we accomplish nothing else on this whole trip, I know that we changed the way that JP sees himself. And for me, that was worth it." I know. Now I have to collect myself. Oh, yes, for JP.
There's always been plenty of anecdotal evidence that author visits move the dial for kids in this way, for kids like JP. But anecdotes don't convince skeptics the way data does.
Fortunately, now we have both.
Yes, our third big partnership was with the Education Department at Washington College in our hometown of Chestertown, Maryland. Over the course of our travels, they collected 11,000 surveys.
You guys, that is so many.
From
It is a lot.
6,000 students
It
and
is really a
teachers
lot. It's really a lot.
in 26 schools across the
It
country.
is unprecedented.
We were able to conduct a study that was never possible before.
Yes, and even better, the great news is the data shows a clear and statistically meaningful bump in student interest in reading, writing, and drawing in the wake of our visits. Yes! Hooray! Yes.
For the first time ever, we're able to prove that this thing works.
Yes, which is great news because it means we can keep chipping away at this intractable problem by getting more books and more literacy programming to underserved kids.
But to the point of this gathering, how do we scale it? We traveled 34,000 miles, visited 53 schools, gave away 150,000 free books, and not to be overlooked, used 917 bathrooms, my friends.
We did.
Yes.
We counted. But that still leaves 46,916 schools that we did not get to visit.
Even if we kept driving this bus for the rest of our lives, which we totally would, we're still just two people.
Yes. Also, our kids would totally never speak to us again. It would be sad.
They
We
made
like
that
them.
abundantly clear. So in Busload of Books Phase 2 happening now, we are working with the research team to test the relative impact of virtual visits, which can obviously reach a lot more kids, and by developing video content that aims to sustain literacy engagement over time.
Yes, we have the ultimate privilege of dreaming big, of telling our story.
It may shock you to hear this, but Robbi and I, not particularly successful,
No, we are not.
not terribly well known.
We are not well known at all.
We did not set out to change the world.
But we did something small for our local community, saw what a difference it made, and decided to scale it up a little.
That's something that everyone in this room can do too. Notice opportunities to make things better and use our resources and muscle to move whatever mountains necessary. So friends, what is a challenge you see in your community?
Who is your JP?
What's your colorful school bus?
We have already proven that this is a room full of fantastic storytellers.
So let's all ask ourselves, friends, what should happen next? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good job, sir.